إيمان وايلة أكسيدنت اتنرابة ناشة ليعطي متبصل طاقة شكلي. اتلا نسيانة بدنا كيسس injury law و بيالباية قريمخ. إن آتن ينكل بتت بيتا خزموخن يطانة اتلوخن بوقارة مخبرون المنيان التلفون 8 أربع شوا وچو 8 تري وچو 5 خا اشتا يعني توكن بيت injuryrights.com. شمي إلى توني كالغراكس كيام زمن لشان خلية ديما.
Welcome to Assyrian National Council of Illinois. Where we provide home care services for the elderly 60 years and older. For over 20 years, ANCI has worked closely with the state of Illinois to strengthen and expand our home care program. We currently service the Chicagoland area, including Cook, Kane, and DuPage counties. If you are interested in finding out more about our home care services, please visit us at our Chicago or Streamwood office.
Okay, so we've never done an Assyrians in STEM panel. This is new. Despite the fact that we have so many Assyrians that are encouraged to be engineers. This year we didn't just do engineers, we also did people who are more on the theory side, so we have a couple of physicists and a few people who are in industry or who are high up in industry. So before we get started with, I kind of want to introduce them myself, because they're so accomplished. And then you guys can do your own introductions as well. I'll try not to steal all the thunder. So I'll go ahead and start with Sargon Benjamin. He holds a master's degree in engineering from Santa Clara. He created sargonsays.com. So that's extremely important. Actually, I've had people who reach out to us on Assyrian Advisors and like, hey, can you guys help me translate something? I have to send something back to my parents or whatever it is. And I'm just like, visit sargonsays.com, he's an advisor. So that's an extremely important tool that he's given us, and we're very thankful for that. So thank you for that. He's given talks at convention about fitness and health. I'm sure you can see it through his suit. He's extremely fit, but without the suit, he's even more fit. He wins competition, or he does competitions with like Spartan race, and he's like an excellent. He does shooting and fitness competitions, and he's like high level in that. So it's very good, and we've worked out together. Love him. Next is Dominic. He's a professor in computer science. He works at Google as an engineer, and we met last year at convention. We hit it off. He also wrote an article in the Assyrian Star, which is excellent. I recommend you look at it. It catalogs a bunch of different Assyrian, I guess, items or artifacts and things like that, and also talks about AI. Very interesting. Next is Diana Chamaki. That's my younger sister. I have an older sister who's a lawyer, and that's why I was like, okay, I have to do law. My parents also pushed me. My younger sister, she's much smarter than me and my older sister. She's doing her PhD in physics at Columbia, which is an Ivy League school. So so now I'm like, man, I really have to do better, right? And then we have Alec Bedroya. who is like a multiple-time math Olympiad, like math Olympics, right? He won, an Assyrian, and we had linked up years ago. He graduated from Harvard with a PhD in physics, and then he was like, "Oh, this is not enough. I'll get my postdoc from Harvard and Princeton." So he went ahead and did that after. So I know this was a little bit long-winded, but I take a lot of pride in introducing them because I love all of them. So I'll go ahead and allow them to do a quick intro, and then actually we'll just go to each person because I know Sargon has a presentation. So why don't we get started with Sargon? Each person give a quick intro and talk a little bit about what you do. We have time. We have a little bit more time because this is the last panel of the day. Yeah.
Shalom aleichem, Nachitun. Shimi Sargon. I live in Austin, Texas, as of about a year and a half ago. So Brunil, as great as he is, he told us no slides. And then Friday, when I talked to him, he said, bring slides. So I have slides, they don't. So it'll kind of be an open forum from that aspect. Today I want to talk about culture and craft. So I'm a computer science professional, software development leader at Amazon Web Services. Any of you guys know what Amazon Web Services is? Yeah, so it's cloud hosting. So the service I work on is a managed database service that powers the videos that you click on Netflix or the reservations you do on Airbnb. So when your videos aren't working, we get paged for that. Today, what I wanted to talk about is how I used my passion, my craft in software, and how to apply it to my bloodline and the Assyrian inside of me and the community that has supported me. And so have just by show of hands, have many of you heard about what SargonSays.com is? Yeah, so SargonSays.com it's an English to Assyrian dictionary. So you type in any English word in there, and it'll give you the Assyrian equivalent. Prior to 2016, there were multiple Assyrian, and there still are great Assyrian dictionaries out there. What I wanted was a search engine that had high fidelity search rankings. So what does that mean? That means when you search for a word like the color red, Smulka shows up as the first result, right? And something that was very mobile friendly. I get approached all the time, and at convention, people will come up to me and be like, "Oh, hey, you're the guy. You're someone says." They say, "I use that site and I think they're gonna say every day, and he goes, "Every other week." And okay, thanks. So the reason the site was established in 2016 was around that time ISIS invaded Iraq, and they were destroying a lot of our cultural artifacts. And so it took some time to process through that. I have kind of an FU mindset for someone who's trying to attack, and I try to have a growth mindset in terms of, hey, what can we do to move forward and preserve culture? So if some of our physical artifacts were being destroyed, how can I use my craft to preserve our language digitally, and by relying on the backs of Google Cloud, Amazon Web Services to host that, because ISIS isn't going to attack that. So that's why it was established in 2016. Some quick stats about the site. So even though the United States, so this up here, I know it's a little bit hard to see, most of our users are from the United States. That's the top country. It's actually not the top city that uses the Sargon Says dictionary. The top cities are actually in Australia. So Sydney and Melbourne, where they have Assyrian schools out there. I see someone fizz bumping. He's either into EDC music or EDM, or he's from Australia. So that's very cool. Awesome. And then, looking at the stats, so there's no login information on SargonSays.com. You don't log in. It's all anonymized, but based off your IP address, Google Analytics is able to give us the course geolocation, so the city that the traffic is coming from. In terms of what was interesting in terms of the top 25 cities, Sydney, Melbourne, and Chicago round out the top 3 in terms of usage to that site. Turlock, for some reason, ranked 23rd, which was kind of surprising for me. I would have thought it'd be a little higher. So who knows? Maybe they speak Assyrian really well there, and they don't need the site in Turlock. So prior to Sargon the Sargon Says dictionary, my brother and I worked on a lot of edutainment apps. So we felt very strongly at the time, it was around 10 years ago, when Angry Birds was coming out and kids were always, playing on their phone, while waiting for food to come or in the car. We wanted to occupy that mind share. So we made some kids games, storybook apps in Assyrian where they're, jumping with a penguin, trying to collect coins. These are Assyrian coins, listening to Assyrian music in the background. So they think they're playing. We're actually kind of tricking them into learning more about our culture. So meeting our users where they're at. AssyrianApp.com is still used today. We have a bunch of free language ebooks there. There's an even Assyrian languages book for naming your child. That was a good gift by Rabbi Mishael. He gave to the church, and then he put that on our site. So I want to be respectful for the other speakers today. So the advice I would give for folks in computer science who are trying to wrestle with how do you help your culture with your craft, right? How do you make an impact and give back to your craft, to your culture using your craft? And I would say the best way to do is invest in yourself first. Focus on your craft first. Like, become the best version of you that you can in your craft. That'll build your own confidence. It'll build credibility. It'll build integrity within the community. You'll build a social network. You'll build some social proof that'll then open up connections so that when you find the opportunity to help your culture, then you can go attack. So I would say really invest in yourself. One of the ways we did that with my brother and I is we worked on a bunch of apps. One that was one's called Vibe. The screenshot's a bit outdated, but Vibe was created in a hackathon. What it allowed users to do at the time was to set a custom vibration on their phone when someone would call or text them, so you could feel who was calling you rather than do a little peek down to see on your phone. And it was used by the deaf community quite a bit. So that was featured on the Google Play Store, had over 1 million downloads. So we worked on our craft. We really honed it in, got some success in the industry prior to then seeing, hey, how can we apply these skills to our culture? Understand what motivates you. So if we go back a slide. So I said, be the best you at what you're working on, build your credibility and integrity, build your network, and then understand your motivations. What I mean by understand your motivations is I had to take a look at what drives me. What drives me is my nationalism and the Assyrian culture. I have these visions of Assyrians, kings on chariot and horseback, going into battle, or even the scholars at the libraries. I have these visions that run through my mind that motivate me. Our faith, and so those all align to our motivations of our need to feel a sense of belonging, right? And so understand what motivates you. For me, it's also my social circle, my family, right? So that need to feel loved, to belong. The sense of achievement. I like to compete in a lot of things, so I do. Some of the pictures that are shown here is me doing what's called tactical style events, where we're lifting very heavy obstacles, kind of like military boot camp style, and then going on target while your heart rate's up, trying to shoot pistol and rifle for accuracy. So I do some of those kind of interesting things that remind me of our Assyrian heritage. And that is what enabled me to then go out and use what I have in my craft. Like, I really had to figure out who I am to then go back and use my craft to try to inspire other Assyrians, or even just to help other Assyrians learn the language. While we were creating a lot of these apps, we were one of the first to do this. Someone named Akkad Saadi reached out to me. He's behind originally BetCanu, and now BetCanu, which is a software organization that makes cartoons, YouTube videos, apps for kids to learn the language. As far as tactical stuff, if you're into computer science, you're not going to get a dev job as soon as you start out. I would recommend folks to work on a project, make it open source, share that, find an internship, find a mentor, take part in a hackathon. We won a hackathon. We bootstrapped our company with $25,000 by winning a hackathon, and then that allowed us to pay our guys and come out with more of our ideas. You can try other paths of the stepping stone. Maybe you want to be something, but you can't actually get that role, but there's like a stepping stone role to get there. I'd highly recommend that. You know, if it's a good wave, ride that wave before, as opposed to just waiting for your wave that you really want to ride out. Coffee helps, especially on the software field. And then I see someone yawning, so it's my cue to finish up. And then fitness is important, so work your body and work your mind, right? It's kind of the three-pronged thing where you have your spirit, your mind, and your fitness. And then failure is going to occur. A lot of people are scared of failure. I just say get over it, laugh at yourself, move forward, and have at it. I think that's what I'll cover today, and then I'll let the panelists go ahead and go with your talk.
Awesome. Thank you, Sargon. So I think I'd like for each of you to come on up here. And so Dominic, come on up here. Let me just reset this real quick. And it doesn't need to be long. Just please talk to us about your...
So yeah, so it's some interesting things. So I want to talk about, these are the tablets we know about. These are the ones we've decoded. These are the ones we've decrypted. So there's hundreds and thousands of tablets that, so we have some people, so raise your hand if you're a cuneiform expert, you guys know how to read. So unfortunately we don't have too many. But guess what? So there are some. I don't think they're in this room, but probably somewhere else. All right. But what's it? Where are they? At noon? Oh, tomorrow. Louvre. Oh, okay. Yeah.
There's a guy in Sweden.
Oh, cool. Man, he should came. But I think also they're going to do a talk on cuneiform tomorrow. But anyway, so AI. Raise your hand if you ever heard AI. I know. It's like everyone's saying it now, but like this is like, okay, so this is the AI before the AI. This is optical character recognition, machine learning. This is traditional artificial intelligence. There's some experts, researchers, PhDs, and what they're doing is we're applying these techniques, optical character recognition and machine learning, in order to, so optical character recognition is so that we can take a picture of this, scan it, and then we can put this in Unicode. Okay, so actually, believe it or not, so we have Unicode characters, which is the standard. So just like how I wrote these letters right here, oops, I'm sorry. Just like any of these letters, each one of these is a character, right? So we can actually have these as characters as well. And so the first step is, number one, converting them from the photo. Like you guys have an iPhone, right? You know nowadays they have a feature that if you take a picture of something that has text, you can highlight it. How does that work? That's optical character recognition. So number one. Number two, so you have the characters, so what? We need to be able to understand it. That's where the machine learning's coming in. We're taking examples of things that experts have already decoded, and we're decoding the new ones. So there's another section I have there, and it begs the question, what's in them? You know, what kind of secrets can we unlock? We don't know what we don't know. This is ancient knowledge. They're trying to pass it down to us. We can't read it. It's the language is forgotten. We lost, so thank God we have the language, Surath, right now. We have it. We're speaking it. Some more than others, but for Akkadian, we don't have it. We only have the text. We don't know how to speak Akkadian. It's a lost language, completely lost. But we're able to parse out these tablets. So what's in them? Any ideas? Is it aliens? Is it, galaxies? Is it, I don't know, stories? We don't know. So what's next, right? So we have the tablets. We're decoding them. What's in them? I don't know. But there's also a lot of work to do. So if you guys are interested in any of this, there's new grants, new organizations, new research labs starting now. So there's some universities that kind of opened up the doors to this, and the technology's there. You can go on GitHub, which is a code repository. You can download this stuff right now, and you can try it yourself. And you can start decoding tablets yourself. It's really interesting. So I did it, and you can read about it yourself. And there's a catalog, an online library of all of these. It's very interesting. So I definitely recommend you check it out. There's more to it, too. So number one, there's the translation. Number two, what they're working on doing is they're working on creating, so researchers, these guys are geniuses, they're working on creating 3D mappings of these, and they want to be able to 3D print replicas of this. So on the one hand, they want to 3D print replicas. Another one, they want to take these and put them in cyberspace. How do you have this in cyberspace? So for instance, you can take this and you can, for instance, interact with one of these tablets in virtual reality. And why would you want to do this? Like, what are these tablets about? All I'm going to say is there's ancient knowledge looking to be unlocked in these tablets. We just recently discovered that the Assyrians are the ones that discovered the Pythagorean theorem. So why is it called the Pythagorean theorem? Well, you know, you guys can answer that one, but if you're interested in this, but seriously, if you're interested in this, I recommend you go online, you check out some of the codes. Even if you're not a coder, you don't need to be a coder to run some of this stuff. Check it out. Go on here. It's some really interesting stuff. And there's a whole community of people right now. The doors are open. We're unlocking these, cracking the code, and that's it. And I really recommend you guys take a look. And there's also a lot of other different cool things you can do with technology now. Raise your hand if you guys have seen the AI Assyrian art that people have been making. So no one, right? Oh, no one in this room? No, it's really nice, actually. You can go on one of these image generators. You can write a line about, hey, I want to see... You type in what you want, like, for instance, I want to see a Lamassu on top of the Tower of Babylon, and there will be an AI program that will generate an image of whatever you tell it to. And people are doing this. It's really good for some reason at creating Assyrian art. I really recommend you guys check this out. So there's a lot of cool things you guys can be looking into with technology. And in terms of getting into technology, my rule of thumb is just do it. Go into it. Start coding. I know it sounds kind of hard to a lot of people. Coding, I don't know how to do that. But it's like riding a bicycle. You try it out a couple times. You're going to fail a couple times. Other than that, you can do it. I mean, I went from not knowing how to code at all, asking my friends, and now I'm a software engineer at Google. And to be honest with you, it's just like anything else. You take it one step at a time. So I'm really excited. And there's really cool things to check out. And I really think you guys should crack this open and start taking a look into it.
So quick question for Dominic. You can just use the table mic. What website do we go to access these tablets or the translation, or where do you recommend we go to research?
Okay, great. So there's a few different resources that you guys can take a look at. I actually put them at the last part of the journal posting if you guys get a copy of the Assyrian Star. One of the things that you can look at in order for decoding them at least is the Babylonian engine is what they called it. So these are researchers from Tel Aviv University in Israel. But what I think is happening now is we're starting to get a lot of Assyriologists into it. So right now, the researchers at Tel Aviv University are Assyriologists, but they're not Assyrian. So we're also getting Assyrian Assyriologists into this sort of research. But right now, one of the best things you guys can look at is the Babylon engine. It's a really cool resource.
Excellent. Thank you, Dominic. Okay, so Diana, you're next.
Okay. Hi, everyone. How's your day going? Great. I'm so happy that we're all here and that I get to be on this panel with all of these brilliant Assyrians. So I am just starting my PhD in chemical physics at Columbia. Actually, my first day will be Tuesday, so right after convention, I'm going to get on a flight and 8:30 a.m. going to jump into classes. But I'm really happy to be with you here today. before that, I was at UC Berkeley. While I was there, I was studying applied math, and I minored in physics. And then I took a couple of years off where I was doing research at NASA. And during that time period, I kind of just was learning how to do research better and preparing for a PhD program. And my focus was mostly on quantum computing, and that's the direction that I'll continue likely during my PhD. So studying different molecules and chemical systems using quantum computers and quantum algorithms. I think one thing that I want to talk about is the PhD program in general, and if anybody's interested in that. So something that people may not know is usually PhD programs in STEM are fully funded and you'll get a stipend. So you won't usually have to worry about having to pay for it, which is really nice, and you get paid, although it's not too much, but it's still a very useful thing throughout your education to not have to worry about where you'll get funding. Oh, sorry, I think I'm moving. And I think I would also just like to talk about how I got here, and I think I've had a lot of help along the way, and I definitely wouldn't have been able to get here without that. So without having mentors and people to guide you, I wouldn't have been able to get to where I am. So for example, oftentimes I would reach out to different PhD students and talk to them about it. I would sometimes ask Alec for advice, and my cousin John and his wife Marina, we would often chat. They both graduated from their PhD programs, and I think that is a very useful thing to have within our Assyrian community. And it's incredibly important for us to, as we go through our career paths, to give back to each other and know that while you're going through your education process, you can reach out to anybody, Assyrian, especially within Assyrian advisors, and they'll be willing to help you and guide you along the way. So you're not alone in the process, and oftentimes it'll be difficult, you'll fail often, but knowing that there have been other people who have gone through exactly what you've gone through and can give you advice will be essential for you to succeed. And I think every one of us is capable of succeeding, and it's also necessary for us to do so.
Thank you, Diana. Good job. Oh, there we go. So next we've got Alec Bedroya. PhD from Harvard, are you serious?
Shalom, everyone. I hope you've been enjoying all these talks as much as I have, and I'm just so grateful to be sitting next to all these great, amazing, accomplished people who have this heart and passion to help and support others, especially Assyrians. So just to give you a little bit of background about myself, so that if you know someone who has similar experience, that it would be helpful for me to connect with them, more. So I was born in Iran. I'm from Iran. I came to the United States 5 years ago for my PhD. I did my undergrad at Sharif University in physics and math. And the reason that I went into physics and mathematical physics was because in high school I did some math competitions, and one of my teachers told me about theoretical physics and how cool it is to be able to use math to describe things that actually exist in the universe, and that was really appealing to me. So I chose physics, and I gravitated towards the more mathematical type of physics. And now I'm doing string theory. I applied to a bunch of different universities, and by the grace of God and just kindness of support of so many people, and I'll get to that in a minute, I got into Harvard and I did my PhD, and I graduated just a few months ago. And I started, thank you. And I started a postdoc with Princeton, but for my first year, I'll be at Harvard, so it's like a joint position. Just to go back to the mentorship aspect and to build on what Dana said, there are so many instances in my journey that just bad doors were shut and good doors were opened, and it was just purely by the grace of God. It was miracle after another, and there were so many people that were there at the right time and gave me the right support to be able to take the next step. And the way I firmly believe that the story of someone's success is not an individual story, and when you dig deeper in it, it's really a group effort. It's a very collaborative effort, and there are so many people involved. I strongly encourage that if you know someone who could use the help of a Syrian advisor, please let them know about this. And also, if you yourself can, help others, I'm sure that everyone here has experienced how important it is to receive good and quality help. And I can't really overstate the importance of it. So it's really not an individual effort, and it plays a very important role. And I'm just so grateful that God put all those people at the right time in the right place that helped me to get to where I am today. So thank you.
Okay, excellent job, you guys. So I'll close by saying that Assyrian Advisors, the way to reach out to us is through AssyrianAdvisors.com, or you can email us at info@AssyrianAdvisors.com. Follow us on Instagram, also at Assyrian Advisors. We're on Facebook, etc., LinkedIn. You can take a look at our advisors there. All of them are. Use them as much as you can. So that's what we'll say also to the cameras. Please use Assyrian Advisors. Take advantage of it. I created it because I wanted access to that myself. So that's essentially it. I think it's testament to how smart Assyrians are with this. Like Dominic, dude, the Pythagorean theorem. I mean, who knows what else we made? Who knows what else we made, right? We argue a lot and stuff like that, but we're very smart, so that's a good thing. So thank you guys for attending. Tomorrow we'll be starting lectures again. I believe the first one is at 10, and we're going through until the chess tournament, which is at, I believe, 5 p.m., so 5 to 7. And also we'll be having a presidential banquet, so hope to see some of you there. That's it for what's to come. Oh, and you know what? We do have a little bit of time. I hope you guys will stick around. I think it's worth going to some questions. Paul Benjamin here, he's Sargon's brother. He also got his MBA from University of Chicago, right? That's an excellent school. So why don't we go ahead and see what Paul has to say?
Thank you. A question for the panel. If anyone is interested in getting into a STEM field, whether it's engineering or the physics or any of that type of stuff, how would you recommend them go about it?
Is this thing on? Hello? So I don't know if I can speak for all the other STEM fields, so maybe we can hear from the rest of the panel on that, but I can definitely speak for the field that I'm part of is computer science. One of the things that I became part of and I participated in, and I believe Sargon said that he participated in as well, are hackathons. So hackathons are either 24 hours, 48 hours. It's like you sleep over, you bring your computer. It's crazy. It's like an adventure. Think like Assyrian convention, but instead of a bunch of Assyrians, it's like a bunch of coders. But as far as the hygiene goes, I'm proud to say that Assyrians are they're a lot more hygienic than some of the people I've met at hackathons. So it's really fun, though. You bring your computer. If you don't know how to code at all, if you've never even written, there's something called a Hello World program. So you write a program that basically spits out the message Hello World. It's really cool. It's really fun. If you've never coded ever, even a day in your life, you will leave with your own program. Maybe. It depends on how much time and effort you put in. So if you stay over, you put in your best foot forward. It's a lot of fun. So if you're interested in computer science, I can speak to that. So you go to a hackathon, it's a lot of fun, and they're really cool. So maybe the rest of the panel can speak on other fields.
If not, we can move to a few more questions here. Yeah, Alec, do you want to go ahead?
I can maybe say something. Does this work? Yeah. Okay. Maybe for physics. So I do more theoretical type of physics, and because of that, it has less application than other types of physics. So I would say if you want to get into that, it's good to really be passionate about it and to have a question that kind of sometimes keeps you up at night. It can get you out of bed. You can really be passionate about it and something that you want to pursue. If you feel that kind of passion, or if you're curious about it, just reach out to someone who's in the field and talk to them, and go to. I mean, there are a lot of seminars in the universities that it doesn't need any affiliation or registration to be able to go to see just how it's like to do physics and to get in touch to people and ask about their experiences and get more familiar with it. Yeah.
Perfect. Do we have any other questions here? Looks like no. So, oh wait, we think we got one in the back. Yeah, can you raise your hand? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get this. Neve, do you want to come a little forward? So.
Hi, sorry, I wanted to ask this question to the previous panel and to this panel as well. I think it applies to both panels. Question is, how important for this young generation is to hire, let's say you'll become a professional, you'll have your own clinic, your own dental office, your own law office, any type of business. How important is it to hire within Assyrians, let's say janitorial services, security services, HVAC services, IT services, any kind of services? I'm trying to pick your brain to see how important that is to you guys compared to our previous generation. Thank you.
Okay, so this is like a really excellent question. So I actually want to answer it real quick, and then I'll put it out to the panel. So the short answer is it's extremely important to hire Assyrians, right? That's the point. It's you. Once you've done well, work on raising other Assyrians up. You have to do that. So that's the culture, right? That's why, again, why I started Assyrian Advisors. It's not just the academic stuff. It's like if you're in a job, and I know it's like a concern, oh, well, now I've stuck my neck out for this person. I'm responsible if they don't do well and whatnot. You are responsible. They're your people, right? Obviously, you should field people who are good, and you can set the expectations. But at the end of the day, other cultures have done it really well, and they succeed. They're at literally the very top, and this is what they do. So you have to help others. Will you hire, if you're at a law firm, if you create a private equity fund, you're an engineer, and you've created your own business, you should hire Assyrians as much as you can, right? That's the goal, is like, and you can also train them, right? We're highly skilled. Look at these people. So you must do that. I'll open it up to the panel if they want to quickly.
Yeah, I think that was a great question. So I've hired a bunch of engineers, both within my company and at my current place of work. At the end of the day, you want to hire the best person for the job, right? That's who you want to hire. We also understand that, folks just sometimes need a break in the industry. No one wants, if you hire someone that didn't deserve the job, they're going to resent you hiring them at the end of the day, because they'll hold it in the back of their head. Maybe they only hired me because I'm this or that. And so providing an environment where you can train someone and give them the right kind of motivation to kind of just get past that next step is extremely important. I've done it numerous times within my own personal startup for Assyrians, and some of them weren't even in STEM. One guy wanted to get into software sales. I'm not just going to give him a software sales role, right? So, okay, here's what we need. pitched me something. He was competent, so now on his resume he's working at Push Beta, which is the company that we had started, and now he leapfrogged from that to a better place. We've done that numerous times with Assyrians who wanted a break in the software field, both sales and in the STEM side. So I think it's important. It's just you need to make sure you hire the right person. So yes, hire within your culture, but hire the right person within your culture. And maybe, let's say they don't have all the skills, you can train skills, but you can't coach motivation or ability. They have to be able to think like an engineer. They have to be intrinsically motivated. If they have that, anything's possible. So I've seen folks leapfrog from being in a bio profession with some guidance and training. They've went to quality assurance engineering within software, and then now they're remote software development engineers. And one thing within STEM that I think that was lost partially today is, especially within computer science, as we democratize who can write code, right? We're competing against folks in India, China. They're sitting at a computer writing more code than we are today. So one of the things that really sets STEM engineers apart from others is your ability to succinctly communicate with others. I think that's becoming more and more important today as the world becomes more remote. The pendulum's going to swing where that in-person ability to describe what you're thinking in a succinct way, to transfer your knowledge, I think that's going to become extremely important. So I wouldn't lose sight of the fact that even though we are in STEM, communication is extremely important.
Excellent. Anybody else want to weigh in?
Can I weigh in on something?
Yeah.
My undergrad, it's UCLA mathematics. When I was interviewing for my first job post school, I went through the process, and I was interviewing with somebody, and they got me through the gauntlet of like tough questions. And at the end of the conversation, the interviewer said, "Oh, tell me more about the Assyrian involvement that you have." And I looked at her, and I started talking, and then she's like, "Paul, Ana Sureten."
Wow.
To me, it was very powerful because she put me through the ringer of really seeing whether or not I was, like, to someone's point, like, of ability to do it. And then she also created that community connection to push me through. And that's inspired me to hire Assyrians in the roles that I've been in. Another recent thing that happened is be proud of being Assyrian by actually publishing it on your social networks. I actually connected with, I'm not going to go into details, but I have a property in St. Louis, and I'm looking for property managers out there. And I found one, and I found her LinkedIn, and I found that she speaks Assyrian. I reached out to her, I talked to her, I interviewed her. And then at the end of it, I said, "Are you Assyrian?" And she said, "No, but I speak it."
Wow.
And I was like, "Wow, what is that?" I was like, "Tell me more." She's like, there was a family in LA that took me in, and I learned Assyrian, and she started speaking with me. So we created a relationship that way. And so the opportunities out there, like everything is all based off luck, really. But make your luck by actually saying that you're Assyrian and get yourself out there. Someone will see it. And that's where the community grows. So it's not, no one, just because you're Assyrian, others don't deserve to have that opportunity with you. It's more of, can you make that opportunity yourself? Can you build the connections? Can you communicate? And then are you of aptitude to be able to get the job? So sorry for...
That was excellent. Thank you, Paul. So I think that'll be it. I recommend, we've got one more. Let's make it quick. One more.
Thank you all for your time and for the great advice that you've given so far. I have a very quick question. It was not too long ago that I joined a seminar about design and architecture and the positive impact that AI can have on design and engineering. But I think it's only wise to know and learn more about the negative impacts. And what are the things that we as growing professionals can do to kind of help us be ahead of the game or kind of ride on the wave?
It looks like Dominic, you're gonna have to answer this.
Okay, so I heard a few different things. I heard AI, architecture, AI ethics, and being ahead of the curve. So my sister, she's an architectural designer for the Detroit Zoo, and they've recently begun using artificial intelligence in architecture as well. And I want to say that some of the technology that I've seen coming out is absolutely insane. So if you guys are interested in architecture, and if you ever imagine something that you want to design, even as a non-architect, a non-designer, the tools that they have and they're coming out with are absolutely mind-boggling, like the stuff I've seen. Okay, so I heard AI ethics, right? AI, is it good? Is it bad, right? So AI is a tool, and it's about how you use it, right? Now, one of the things we were talking about is using it to translate the tablets. Now, if you translate them and you find some interesting secrets and you use them only for yourself, I don't know, is that good or bad? So, like I said, it's just a tool, and it can be used in a great way, and you can use it however any tool can be used, right? You can use a hammer in a good way, in order to hammer something, or you can, hammer someone. So, And so the last thing is, how can we be ahead of the curve? Like I said, go on GitHub. It's a website that has code. Don't be intimidated by it. I say check it out. Raise your hand if you've used ChatGPT or any OpenAI tool. Come on, at least a couple of you guys should have your hands up. Come on. Raise your hand if you use DALL-E in order to do image generation. Well, you can write just a sentence, a short sentence, and it'll generate any image that you tell it to, within ethical law specifications. So yeah, I think the first thing I think you should do as a coder or non-coder is find out what tools exist, and there's a lot. And if you have any questions, you can ask me or probably Sargon, and check it out. Just get started, get going. I'm assuming you guys all have a phone. Who has a phone? Yep, it should be everybody. All right, so, or a computer. Go log on the computer, check out the tools that exist, log on to them, try them out. And if you guys don't know what tools, or you're too intimidated by the list of tools, come over to us. So I'll give you some things to check out. So I definitely think the number one thing you can do is just get started.
Okay, perfect. So just a update for all of you who are in here. The parties are coming up in a couple of hours, so I recommend all of you go get some rest, get dressed, do all that stuff, eat some food. I don't think we have kebab served here, but if you can find somewhere, I know I'd like some. Go rest up. Tomorrow we're going to start early and hope to see all of your faces there in the morning. Thank you. A round of applause for these people.
Welcome to Assyrian National Council of Illinois. Where we provide home care services for the elderly 60 years and older. For over 20 years, ANCI has worked closely with the state of Illinois to strengthen and expand our home care program. We currently service the Chicagoland area, including Cook, Kane, and DuPage counties. If you are interested in finding out more about our home care services, please visit us at our Chicago or Streamwood office.